Today's video brought to you by Daisy and Dr. Pepper. We brought Daisy with us. She's gonna show us all of our math stuff. She's my mathematician. So we're back at the range today. We're back here with the 257 Bulldog. We brought the same three ammos. We've got our JSB Heavy Kings, Hunter Supply, and Nielsen. Let's see, these Nielsens are 75 grain and the Hunter Supply are 87 grain. The Jumbo King Heavies are 33.95 grain. We didn't bring the single shot tray today. We don't really have anything that needs it, so we're just gonna stick with our 9-shot magazine. We had some trouble last time with our 9-shot magazine with the pellets. Figured out that it's because I didn't insert the pellet deep enough to hold onto the, there's a little stem in there to help it index, and it just wasn't letting it index. I think these pellets are really too small for this gun, but we'll play with them again. Maybe double load them today. Let's see, what did we do? Last time we had a completely stock gun. I had a little bit of concern because we had to fill it up to 4,500-ish PSI to get a bell curve. I have ported it, done a trigger job on it, and we put a DePinger in it. That's all we've done. I also backed off the factory spring as far as I felt like I could do that, would still get the butt pad on there. So maybe we can get a bell curve this time and still have our same power. But we also brought one of the old school springs that used to come in the original 357s that weren't the Magnum version. We've pulled so many of those out putting our spring in that we have a box full of them. But anyway, the DePinger should help us with noise a lot, and we brought our Moderator again, and we'll see if that makes a difference. Anyway, I've got a couple of targets set up downrange. I think last time we started with the JSB, so we're going to start with that again. We really need to be down at like 900 feet per second for these to be accurate. And I think it was like 1100 something, so I don't really see these being accurate. But maybe if we put 2 in, it'll slow it down enough that we can get a double hammer shot that's pretty accurate. So anyway, I'm going to get started. I'm going to fill up to 3,000. Hopefully we are in good position there. I cheated. I went ahead and double loaded this magazine, so we have 18 pellets in our magazine here. All right, we are at 3,000, and I'm gonna make a few shots at a target. Back up, Daisy. It is much quieter. That shot was high. I'm going to come down 2 MOA, or 2 mil. Oh, we're at, that one was 936, this was 966. 992. 978, so we did get a bell curve there. 971, 949, 930. It's getting louder. 905. Oh, that was our 18 shots. That was horrible. I think I could have done a better job, a better group with a shotgun than what that did. So let's walk down and take a look at it. Come on, Daisy. Come on. Yeah, that's almost comical. There's some up here. I know that's one of ours. I think that's one of ours. Some of these over here are ours. I think that's one of ours. But we're all over. So definitely too fast for a pellet. I just don't think the pellet is big enough to fit the bore correctly, and it's just kind of flopping around down the barrel as it goes. So I don't think it has the right engagement on the rifling to stabilize the pellet. Pellets are self-stabilizing, but if you're pushing them too fast, then they're not self-stabilizing. So anyway, we'll try something different. Let's go try those Nielsens again. Okay, folks, I've refilled to 3,000 psi. Let me verify that. Yep. And we've got 9 of our Nielsen's 75 grain hollow points. And I'm going to shoot at the right target this time. See if we can do a little bit better. Dude, that is so much quieter, even without ears. So much quieter without that ping. 901 on that one. I'm sorry I didn't catch the first speed. 896. 912. 912 again. 898. 899. 872. 865, and that's our 9th shot. So there was a little bit of a bell curve in there. It kind of fluctuated a little bit. Let's see, we ended at about 2,200 psi. So our group's definitely better than it was with pellets. But at 40 yards, I still think it should be better than that. Or 50 yards, whatever we are here, 40 or 50 yards. That's about a 2.5 inch group. But we did have a bell curve. I need to go back and figure out what our foot-pounds of energy was. Let's figure out that and go try our Hunter supplies and see what they did. They were actually our most accurate last time. Okay, we have put 9 Hunter Supply 87 grain flat points in there. Close that up. Refilled on air. Need to refill on Dr. Pepper. I'm gonna just shoot on the left side of that same target because it shot right last time. So, oh, we had an error. Sorry, didn't get a speed. It was an error. 852, 876, another 876, 887, 880. 862, 846. So it had a pretty flat bell curve there until right at the end where it dropped some. So that's all right. Much better group. Let's go down and take a look at it real quick. That is a much better group than the Nielsen's. That's about 1.5 inches. I need to sit down. Let's go back, sit down with the phone and figure out what our power levels were, because I can't calculate that off the top of my head. All right, folks. So I asked Daisy. Daisy added it all up for us, and she said that with the Hunter supplies, we were getting about 155 foot-pounds of energy, and with the Nielsen's, we were at 148, I think she said. Anyway, somewhere in there, which are really close numbers to what we had before we did the port work, but backing the spring off gave us, we were able to fill to 3,000 instead of 4,500 and have a bell curve. Yes and no, that's better. It's really going to boil down to the capability of you on whether you want to take the chance to fill up to a higher pressure to get a bell curve, or if you want to be down in a more safe area, especially if you're hand pumping one of these. Trying to hand pump something up to 4,500 psi sucks. So it's much easier to fill to 3,000. But we're going to put a moderator on real quick. We may have time to do some other things here, but we're going to try the moderator and see what our before and after is now. Because with the DePinger in it now, I think that was our loudest thing last time. And that's always been a bad problem with the stock Bulldog, is making it sound like a banjo. So let me put this on real quick. Okay, Paul's got the decibel meter in his hand. I've got 4 rounds loaded up of the Hunter supply, and we are filled to 3,000 psi. I'm going to make 2 shots with the moderator, and then we'll pull it off real quick and do 2 shots without the moderator. And hopefully you guys can see the difference. Paul, you ready?
Yep, ready. $97.8. Same thing.
All right, now 2 shots without. I could certainly hear the difference.
115.
Yeah, so big difference. All I hear is the hammer hitting the valve. I mean, it's pretty quiet. Okay, folks, I have one of the old 357 springs before we started using the blue spring, and now Benjamin, I guess, figured out what spring we were using, or just figured it out on their own, but they are also using that blue spring. But we're going to try to put a stock spring in it and then back it off a bit and see if we can get the pellets to drop down to about 850 feet per second, and see if it makes it more accurate. I know a lot of people want to be able to shoot pellets out of them, so if we can drop it down to a speed where they'll be accurate, people might want to know that. So we're going to do that. So let me pull the factory spring out. Make sure, if you do this, make sure it's decocked. You don't have to drain the air, but there is this plug on the very back. Pull that out with a 6mm, yeah, 6mm, or I think 1/4 inch, either one will work. There's the factory one. This is the old factory one. You can see the difference there. It's a little bit longer, but it's a much lighter spring. And I just push with my thumb to get it started. Once it's started, I'm still going to leave it a couple threads out because we're trying to be pretty slow here compared to what this gun can do. So it's not about speed, it's about accuracy now. So let me put that back on and load up some pellets. I'm just going to single load pellets this time, and we'll try for some accuracy with the pellets. Give me a second. Paul put us up another target. 881, so we picked pretty good. 876, 908, 915, 928, 954, 949, 995. We're still picking up speed. 1003, man. Let me back off on that spring a little bit, see if I can back it out all the way, and see if we can bring it down some. All right, back to 3000 psi. I've backed that adjuster on the back off as far as I can. Let's see if we can slow it down a little bit now. 675, 676. That spring's bouncing around in there. I can hear it. 686, 689. I can see it spiraling. It's slow enough now that I can see the pellet spiraling through the air. 697, 711, 704, 719, 724. It actually looks like the group is coming together a little bit. So I'm going to load up another magazine. What's our pressure right here? We haven't used hardly any air. It still says 3,000. All right, second magazine. Just to show that we're not really tethered, I'm going to take that off. 734, 730, 733, 740, 760, 770, 771, 793, 803, and it still looks like it's a 5-inch group. We might try filling to a lower pressure and then engaging our screw a little bit more, or adjust her a little bit more to get rid of all that rattle. That spring's so loose in there right now, it's just rattling around. It sounds horrible. It's almost as loud as the original ping was. So either that or a regulator. Put a regulator in it, turn the regulator down. I just don't think that barrel is going to handle pellets very good. I did get some dowel pins. I mean some gauge pins, and the small diameter of the barrel on the inside of the rifling is right at 250, but the outside starts out back here, and I didn't get the end, but back here it's like 262, so much bigger than 257. It may be a choked barrel. I didn't have a lead, just a slug to push through to slug the barrel. So, but I'll work on that. All right, folks, we're gonna try something else. I was about to just call it. Very disappointed in how well it handles pellets, but Daisy would not stop, and she would not leave me alone, and said, go big or go home. So I'm going to load back up with our 87 grains. I put my blue spring back in, the factory high power spring. I have screwed it in flush with the back, which is about where it was when we got the gun. But we've also done our port job. So let's see how much more power we can get out of this thing now that it's been ported. We'll go back to what we did before on the first video where we filled to 4,500 PSI. Was it 45 or 4,200? Again, do not do this at home. Do not recommend. All right, 8 more shots. 3 turns in from flush with the back face. 811, 842, 874, 926, 960, 992, 1,007 with an 87 grain, 990. So 1,007 was the top. Where are we at? Way off our gauge. 980. So we hit 1,007 feet per second with an 87 grain. Let me find a phone and add that up. Daisy should be able to just tell us. Okay, let me add this up here. Bullet weight, 87 grains at 1,007 feet per second is 195.85 foot-pounds of energy. That's pretty cool. So, and basically that's just the port job on the barrel and the valve. So we ported it out to the insize on the valve. The barrel was a little touchy. It's already, I think I gauge pinned that hole the factory hole in the barrel at like 228, something like that. I left that size hole, but I milled it a slot like they do on the FX Impact, and then drilled the bottom side of the barrel at the 301, the in-size drill bit, and then went in with a burr on a Dremel and just tapered that to fit, so it's a smooth transition, and then polished it with a polishing wheel. So almost 195 foot-pounds of energy. So that's faster than people shoot the Texan at, and you have 9 shots. So that's pretty cool. Our group is still, with those Hunter supplies, still about 1.5 inches, but we gained 40, because it was 155. We gained 40-ish foot-pounds with a port job. So, and now with a DePinger, it's much quieter. Okay, I don't know what we're gonna do next, but I think that's it for today. I think a bigger reservoir and maybe a regulator to see what we can see if we can get our extreme spread to come down to just a few feet per second. See how accurate we can make it doing that. But and I might order some different slugs. Rick from Shooter 1721 had some Griffin slugs. I don't remember, but he said at 50 yards he was getting like hole in hole group. He had a video about it. It looked pretty good, so I may order some of those slugs, see how they do. Hunter Supply also has some 257s that are oversized for actual firearms. These are their air gun 257s, and they're sized right at 257. I think I don't remember, but the other ones are several thousandths bigger than that. They may be like a 260. So I may order some of those and see if they fit this barrel a little bit better. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. I hope y'all have a blessed day, and we'll keep playing and see what we can make out of this guy.